I'm about to build a complete video game in under 10 minutes without writing a single line of code. And by the end of this video, you're going to learn how to do the same exact thing. Look, I know what you're thinking. AI is probably going to take my job. But what nobody's talking about is the ones who know how to use AI are becoming 10 times more valuable. So while everyone else is panicking, you're learning the same exact skills that's going to make you irreplaceable. And this skill, it's called vibe coding, and it's stupid simple. So the next 10 minutes, I'm going to show you how to build an application by just talking, the exact prompts and structures that you need to use to build out your application, how to debug an error without even knowing what a bug is, and why this skill is more valuable than any skill that you've ever seen before. So let's go ahead and start building. First thing that you want to do to start vibe coding is going to be installing something called a IDE. So right here, IDE stands for Integrated Development Environment. So I'm going to type in anti-gravity Google. So this is going to be Google's IDE. A lot of different providers out there have their own IDE. I'm sure you've heard of Cursor. I'm sure have you heard of AWS's Kiro. So there's a lot of different options. I'm only using Google because Gemini's model has been doing very well lately. And also we all have Gmail accounts, so it's very easy to install. It's the UI is also very friendly, so it's easy to start using for beginners. So I'm gonna click on Google Anti-Gravity, click download, and then depending on the operating system, whether you have Mac, Windows, I'm sure no one's using Linux, but if you are, go ahead and download the file that's right for your computer. And once you do that, I'll meet you on the next screen. Once you install anti-gravity, you're going to log in with your Gmail account. You're going to authenticate. And once you do that, you can go ahead and start using this IDE and start writing applications without writing a single line of code. Let me show you what is on the screen right now so you're more comfortable with your environment. Here, you could open up existing folders, files that you might have. So if you're already building projects and you want to continue working on it, you open up an existing folder. On the left-hand side, again, these are the Explorer for files. For us, we actually want to build our first video game. So we're going to go ahead on the right-hand side. We're going to see this agent. And this agent is similar to talking to ChatGPT, but ChatGPT is just a chatbot. With this agent, it could perform actions. So it could actually write files to our computer, read files, edit them, and actually do things like open up a browsers, test the application, and we'll show you what that looks like in a bit. So here, there's more than one option. There's fast, there's planning. We're going to stick with planning. So this is going to plan and reason before it executes. That's going to make our vibe coding more effective. And then for Gemini, right here is the model. So it's the brain that's used, right? You could use Claude. There's also GPT. I recommend using Gemini 3 Pro High. So we're going to stick with that for this project. So here, the first thing you want to do when you vibe code, think of it like building a house, right? You start with the foundation and then you build your way up. So we want to start building out the core functionality of a game. For me, let's start with ping pong. Again, just something basic, and then as we build up, we can start adding cool functionalities and features. Don't make it complex at first. Again, we want to add that complexity over time. And one more key thing, a lot of people say, oh, I need to learn how to code before I vibe code. That's like saying I need to know how an engine works before I start driving. You definitely don't know. You don't need to learn how to code first. You could just start off with vibe coding. So let's get started. First thing I'm going to say is, let's say, make me a playable ping pong game. I'm going to type that and then sit back and let the agent do its job. So here we could see the thinking, the reasoning, right? If we read through this, it's saying I'm starting fresh on the ping pong game request. So here you can notice that we're going to be able to, we have to accept different things for running any sort of commands, writing files, deleting. We have to keep track of this and hit accept. So here, just making a directory like a file. So here's like the different task list, and the agent's showing you what it's doing, right? It's going to initialize a project structure. It's going to implement the core game loop, the controls and the physics, and then also the UI. It already knows that let's make it premium and neon styling. So here is the project structure, the layout. These are like more code specific things that you really don't need to know. But here it's saying the goal description is a playable premium quality ping pong game using HTML5 canvas and vanilla JavaScript. And again, there's a lot of different things from a programming perspective that are going to come up that you don't know. there's two options. You could either go in and ask Gemini to explain what these are so you could actually understand what you're building, which I recommend. But as we get started, don't worry about it. Just worry about the natural language English that we're speaking with the agent to build this for us. So here I'm going to say looks good. Because it told me to review the design and architecture. So I'm going to tell them, oh, this looks good. Go ahead and build it out. So I just finished building this game. And now it actually says opening up the browser to test it. So it's actually going through opening up the URL to test it. So one thing is I forgot to change my default browser for this to use. So it's going to run into an issue. So I'm going to let it know. You might not have to do this, but if you get this error, it might be something similar. I'm going to say use Microsoft Edge to test the game mechanics. So I'm going to wait for this to finish or else it's going to cut the agent's job. So you just finished. So I'm going to go ahead and let it know. Okay, there we go. It opened it up in my Edge environment. So let's go ahead and play this. So right here we go. We're playing. Not a bad UI. Looks pretty modern. This looks fun. So now we're going to talk about the futures and the errors that we face, right? You're going to be the product manager. So you're the one that's going to be playing this and explaining to the agent what you want to do. So one thing you notice is this game starts off really slow. And it is getting faster, but it's just too slow for me. There also seems like there's not enough settings. I want easy, medium, high. So let's add this. So this looks good. So I'm going to close out of this and I'm going to say game looks great. However, it's too slow. Make it faster pace. And also add different difficulty. So now it's going to refine the game. And you can do this with anything, right? The user interface, if you want something like a space themed background, if you want to add different functionalities to the game, whether you want to add power-ups, whether you want to add different controls, essentially anything you want to do, you can do. So again, it actually went ahead and updated the plan to include the different easy, medium, and hard modes and insane. So I like this plan. I'm just going to say approve. We're going to accept the changes. Again, anything the agent does from editing, deleting, or making things within your computer, it's going to ask you to approve those requests. You could turn this setting off. I recommend starting off so that you want to come through and understand and see what the agent's actually doing. There we go. We'll click accept all. And the good thing about the agent, it actually learns from your chat, the context, because it automatically knows to start launching the game in Microsoft Edge instead of Chrome, which I tried earlier. Here we go, easy, medium, hard, insane. Let's try insane. Let's see what this looks like. Oh God. Okay. Go, we got a good game going. One bug I noticed is we need to add more. Game mechanics are too linear, so we want to mention that. So I'm going to say good mechanics are linear. Let me explain to you what that actually means. So I'm going to say when it's easy for two players stuck in corner, bouncing back and forth. All right, let's see. So it knows the problem is called stalemate. So it's going to redefine the gameplay dynamics. So again, it's anti-stalemate. So it's going to say moving your paddle while hitting will slice the ball. So it's going to change the angle. It's exactly what we need and hit approve. So if you could chat with a friend and have a conversation about what you want your application to look like, what sort of functionalities and custom things you want, then you could build any application you want. So I'm going to accept those changes for the mechanics. So here we go. All right, we got it working. All right, here's why this matters for your career. If you need to build some sort of automation tool to automate your expense reports, you could vibe code that. If your manager needs some sort of dashboard, you could vibe code that. If you need to build out a demo for one of your customers instead of waiting for your IT team to build it out in 2 weeks, you can just go ahead and vibe code that. Every other person in your office is waiting for your IT. You're solving the problem through vibe coding, and you're the person who doesn't get laid off. So let's break down what we actually did in this video today. We stated a clear outcome. We described what we wanted, not how to build it, right? What we wanted, and we let the AI figure out how it's built. We tested and iterated in natural language. We used AI as a tool, not a replacement for thinking. And that's an extremely important component where we are not outsourcing our thinking to AI. We're doing the thinking and we're having AI build everything for us. That's it. That's the entire framework to build anything digital. So here's your homework. Learn a valuable tool. Don't forget about it. Don't bookmark, save this video, and tell yourself you're going to get back to it later. I want you tomorrow morning to pick one task that's repetitive. Open up Gemini. You could do some brainstorming there to help better understand what sort of application would work best for the problem you're facing, and just vibe code it, right? Describe what you want to build out, the issues you're facing, and vibe code it and see what happens. So when your manager asks you next time, how did you automate something that would take you 3 hours? You would just tell them, hey, I figured it out. Because that's what being irreplaceable looks like.